maybe I added about 300 words plus some pretty heavy revisions to a chapter. How about you all? Just looking at the comments here, Fragwagon says they got 335 words and they're consulting a map, a battle in 1777 Philadelphia. That's fantastic. That kind of research sort of thing always slowed me down, always terrified me. I do confess that I love having. So the tool that I'm using is called Obsidian, and I get to pull in ChatGPT right on the side. Yeah, Cat Dog 1900. I'm using Obsidian. I have a video on the channel about why I love using Obsidian, and another one where I share the template that I'm now using. I'll see if I can turn this. You can see it a little bit, maybe. And it's a free tool. It's really nice and it works really cleanly. I can create all of my chapters and notes on the side. I can write in the center. And then on this side, instead of always, what I would do is open a browser a bunch to get a bunch of research. I can now ask ChatGPT directly for like almost anything, which is actually quite fantastic. Like my story is set in Britain, so I'll ask them how would people talk if they lived in Britain? Because I've grown up all over the world, New Zealand, Australia, America, and so my lexicon is it's kind of all over the place. So, what are standard tools archaeologists would use? Because my main character is a bit of a archaeologist sort of dork. Her dad is and her mom is, and she wants to get into that too. I can ask like, what's the name of the restaurant in the British Museum, which I think is called the Great Court, I think it's called. And I can ask, I don't know, you can ask distance, you can almost ask it anything, which is fantastic because you're able to sort of ask the question, get the information that you need so that you can continue, writing your scene. It's just incredibly helpful because otherwise I would be spending so much time digging through Google and I would usually set myself, when I started writing this novel, like a 2-hour window. I had to write one chapter within a 2-hour window, and a chapter for me is 1,500 words. That was kind of my benchmark. So getting the research in and finding what I needed to find, and then grabbing that and dropping it right back into the chapter, well, it means you got to move really fast and you got to be really, really focused. So there was one chapter that I ended up dunking, or taking out, which was set in Lebanon. So I did a lot of research into an actual local town in Lebanon, the distance of what it's like, what people would eat there. I love finding travelogue videos of people cycling through or talking or walking through actual areas around the world. Those are actually really fantastic for local details. So anyhow, having a tool like ChatGPT right in there is pretty fantastic for getting direct feedback for the chapter that I'm writing. Plus, the tool also has a version where you can toggle between your conversation with the tool, and then you can also get it to pay attention to the active note that you're writing, and then say, based on this note, give me 5 ideas on how to make my chapter better. Or I don't understand my character's motivation. She needs to force my main character into doing something, bad. Give me 5 ideas to make that happen. And ChatGPT is like, I can't make any recommendations, that's going to be harmful or manipulative. Your characters need to sit down and kumbaya this through. And I'm like, you're not getting it. Let's be creative. This is for a novel. Oh, okay, that's fine. And then it'll give, ideas. So you learn to work with it a little bit. Looking at the comments, research is fun, but yes, it's easy to get lost. It's true. And also like, gosh, what was 15 years ago, I was writing a dragon novel and I was writing my opening scene and I was getting into the swing of things and then realized I did not know what flowers would grow in a Northern European, area during spring. And I didn't know where to go to find that research. And that little thing ticked me off so much that I never went back to finish writing that novel because I got so much imposter syndrome about not knowing how I would ever get the little details in my story that would make it realistic and kind of compelling. instead of just like bracketing that and then just coming back to that later and maybe doing more research, or instead of realizing my character would probably never pay attention to flowers anyway because he's a dragon rider wannabe, it would have been better to just keep, maybe it would have been better to keep going. Because I didn't, I now have a great story or a great reminder. Now I can simply ask a tool like ChatGPT what flowers grow in Northern Europe during springtime, and it'll give me a direct list, which is pretty awesome. And so now the question is it actually helpful for my writing style to have all of that information? Whereas I prefer to filter everything directly through, as best as I can, through the perception of my main character. So use how they see the world to describe the world, their experience of the world to describe the world, only use the words that they might use, only see what they might actually see and remember, which I think ends up being a lot more helpful, because, of course, I model the characters after me and what I know about things. So it solves that little issue of not knowing what flowers in springtime. Bragwagon says, I like to bracket things and highlight, need specific detail, and then keep moving. Much humbler take on things, far more practical, really important to just keep moving. So I've now learned that lesson. But I've also learned, like I said, the other tactic that I really like, which helps me avoid things like info dumping. So I explore my worlds through the things that my characters learn. So for the dragon thing, Cat Dog says, why not use a made-up flower? Great point. Great question. Why not? I think I wanted mine to feel really realistic because it was a fantasy world and there were going to be so many other fantasy things in it. I think at that time I had just finished reading a lot of Michael Crichton and his Jurassic Park novels, and I loved the delicious specificity of how he would write. What was the other one? Alex Rider. I love the pointed specificity, and the writing is so spare, and it's so not just spare. It's like not dialed in, but it's like it's incredibly focused. There are no narrative flourishes. There's no. I'd grown up reading like Lord of the Rings and classical novels where Victorian narrative flourishes was the norm. And so reading novels that are incredibly direct and incredibly intentional with every single, word, and things are very, very visual. For me, that was just catnip. Couldn't get enough of it because it was so immediate and so dramatic. Anyhow, so that's now kind of my writing style. And that's where I got hung up, Cat Dog. That's where I got hung up with my story at the time. I actually plan to get back to that. I want to get back to that. It's now a lot more dramatic. Who knows? Maybe the next couple of months I'll finish this one, do something different to just keep things fresh and interesting. So anyhow, that was 15 years ago. I hope I'm a little more mature, but who knows? Time will tell. Have an amazing rest of your day, everybody. If you have any questions about writing, I can't guarantee I'm going to have great answers, but I can certainly chat around them with you, and I would love to do that. So if you're catching the replay, please go ahead. Let us know what you're writing and how far you got today, and if it was a good day for you, let us know in the comments. I'd love for us to keep building up this chill writing community where we can see each other just simply showing up and supporting each other and just writing together. That can be one of the easiest things just to keep things moving and just to keep us writing. And if you're a writer, I think it is incredibly important that you do write. Keep doing that. So, okay, have an amazing rest of your day. Maybe I'll see you back tomorrow if I can make it.